Hello everyone, it's your favorite professor in Counterspell Dynamics. I'm the Control Guy, and I'm back with another video for you guys. This is the one you've all been waiting for. 368 cards of the new Strixhaven set. We're going to look at every single one and understand how they will maybe impact Timeless. Now, obviously, this is probably going to be quite a long video, so bear with. I'm going to have timestamps for like all the colors and everything. But unlike the last one on the Mystical Archives, there's not going to be like any cards flashing on screen. If I say a card name, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not going into a 3-hour recording and like putting the card on screen. Yeah, but pretty much let's get straight into it. Everyone in the Discord is quite excited for this one, so if you want to join down below. I'm not going to show the Patreon in this video, but you know what it is. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I hope my voice can do this. So let's get right into it. This is probably going to be one of those one-take wonders. Not going to be a lot of cutting here. Maybe if something happens, I'll cut, but like, I want to do minimal editing this video because it's going to be long. Anyway, the Dawning Archaic. So we have Colorless first. Is this normal? Didn't it used to be that Colorless was under the last color? Oh well. The Dawning Archaic. 10 mana. But it has affinity for instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. So this could be a 0 mana 7/7 if you have 10 instants of sorceries, which immediately gives me Hogak vibes. Let me see what it actually does. So there's a 7/7 reach, legendary avatar. Whenever the Dawning Archaic attacks, you may cast target instant sorcery card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost, and then you get exiled. That actually, unironically, could see play somewhere. I don't know if it's a timeless card though. I can see a deck like is it Phoenix kind of using this, but I don't know if it's gonna be. 10 is a tough ask. 10 instant sorceries with like you'd have to be milling yourself, and then maybe it doesn't have like. Now they could have been mean and just given it Delve instead of 10 instant sorceries, but obviously it's not. Delve would have been able to exile other cards. They could have like reworded Delve to make it only be able to exile instant sorceries, but they didn't. So like it just comes in and you still have those 10 instant sorceries in your graveyard. Now obviously it's kind of awkward because it doesn't have haste, so one measly source of power share that it's gone. But it could see play. Obviously, by the way, I'm not going to give every card this much treatment. This is a mythic, so it's probably going to be somewhat interesting. Colorless doesn't have a lot of instant sorceries, to my knowledge, so probably not going to be a commander very, very often. But I think if you are able to make this card work, it can be very strong, I think. Yeah. I feel like if this was an enters and attacks ability, if this was like an Elder Giant, like Uro and Croxa and Flage, if it entered and cast a spell and then cast a spell when it attacks, it would be strong. When it only where it has to like kind of go to your next turn, that's a bit sus to me. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, sure, maybe as a one-off finish a bomb in Is It Phoenix, but I don't know if it will actually see play, and I don't know how good Is It Phoenix is going to be. Obviously, Days is going to make Is It Phoenix a lot better, but we'll see. Alright, next is Rancorous Archaic. Avatar, 5 mana, trample, reach, converge, enter the account of each color, not playable. Sundering Archaic. Avatar, converge, when this creature enters, exile target non-permanent and opponent controls mana value less than or equal to number of colors. So it is a 6 mana creature 3/3 that enters and prismatic endings, and then you can put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library from a graveyard. So and then 2 mana graveyard hit. If this was a mythic rare and competitively costed, like if it cost 4 mana, it could be very interesting. But I think. Or if it cost X, that would be actually very interesting. Like, right? If this was competitively costed and it was an X mana enters with X counters, that would have been really good, in my opinion. But 6 mana is just unplayable. Alright, together as one. 6 mana rare sorcery. Converge. Target player draws X cards together as one, deals X damage to any target. You gain X life, where X is the number of colors of mana spent to cast a spell. Now, the problem with Converge is that obviously the decks that can make a lot of mana aren't making a lot of mana in every single color of mana. So I don't think this card is actually going to see any play, especially since, again, Converge, the mechanic is very strong with X in its mana cost, because then you can choose how much mana you actually want to spend. This always costs 6 regardless if you have the colors or not. So it's just not going to see any play, because it's just, you can't cast a 6-drop in Timeless. It's just not, it already isn't happening, and with this set, with all the bangers that are coming to the set to make it even faster to Timeless, to the format, you're not going to be casting a 6-drop, trust me. Unless you're a dedicated deck, and that's a Colorless deck, and a Colorless deck can't use Converge, so no, that's not happening. Alright. Transcendent Archaic, uncommon, 7 mana, Converge again, and there's, you may draw X cards, unplayable. You're not playing 7 mana. Again, this Transcendent Archaic technically would be a cool card in Eldrazi Control, because it costs 7, so it goes on Uga's Labyrinth, and then it would be enters the battlefield, you draw cards, but you're not actually ever going to draw cards, because you're only making at most 2 colors of mana in Eldrazi Control, because your mana is all colorless, so sadly not going to be playable. Right, Ajani's response. Ajani's in Strixhaven. Good to know. Didn't know that. Spell series targets a tapped creature, 2 mana destroy target creature, or 5 mana destroy 2 mana destroy target tapped creature, or 5 mana destroy target creature. These effects are cool and limited. Not going to see any play in Timeless at all. Antiquities on loose. Create 2 spirits. Then if the spell is cast from anywhere other than your hand, purpose goes on each spirit you control. Flashback. Probably not going to see any play. Kind of like a wannabe lingering, wannabe lingering souls, but not as good. And even lingering souls doesn't see any play, so this one ain't going to see any play, sadly. Let's see. I might be wrong on all of these, by the way. Like I think this is my educated guess as a Timeless player, right? But I could be wrong. Anyway, let's go. Ascendant Dust Speaker. Okay, 5 mana, flying, unplayable. I'm not even going to read it. It's unplayable. It's a common. It is what it is. Daydream. So, extra target creature you control, return a creature to the battlefield on zone control with a +1 counter on it, and flashback. So, this is kind of like a sorcery speed. What's the card? Ephemerate. But the problem about that is that Ephemerate really likes the fact that it's an instant, because you can target creatures that would die on the stack, right? Like, you can target your evoked creatures, you can target your creatures that have effects where they were gonna die, or you can respond to a creature's opponent's removal spell with Ephemerate. This is a sorcery, so you're only really blinking and getting a counter. I don't think this one's gonna see any play, unless there's like a dedicated blink deck, but I don't think there will be in Timeless, so probably not gonna see any play. Fix that inventory, put a puzzle goes down, target creature you control against vigilance, another turn flashback, unplayable. Eager Glyph Mage, 4 mana 3/3. When a creature enters, create a Inkling. 1/1. They've nerfed Inklings. Inklings are supposed to be 2/1s, no? Oh well. Yeah, no, not playable. Elite Interceptor. So this is the first prepare card. So for everyone who's been living on the rock who doesn't know how prepare works, basically, the creature will probably have some way of preparing itself. So when it says becomes prepared or enters prepared, that's the way the creature becomes prepared. If a creature is prepared, you can then pay the cost of their spell and cast a copy of their spell. It goes onto the stack as the spell, but it's a copy. It's not a card, it's a copy. So that has some rules implications sometimes, but most of the time you're just casting a spell with this creature. So these cards are just 2-in-1 to get a creature. And you can also cast their spell if they're prepared. Now, some creatures will enter prepared, some creatures will not enter prepared, some creatures will enter prepared and have a way to re-prepare themselves, and there's effects in this set that just say prepare a creature. So, but really, the strength of the prepare mechanic depends on how easy it is to get the creature prepared, and how much mana it costs to cast the creature and the prepare for Timeless, because this one, for example, without even reading the effects, right? It's a 1 mana card, and you can prepare it for two, right? So for 3 mana, you get both effects. If you have to wait to prepare, it's just going to get Swords to Plowshares, so we'll see. Anyway, the effects on this creature are simply, it's a 1 mana 2/1 that enters prepared, and the thing is, you may tap or untap target creature, draw a card. So it's just basically a Raven Inspector, whatever it is, enters, make a coup token. So it enters as a 1/2, and then you can, I guess you have tap untap creature. Sorry, I'm kind of dying, but and then it draws a card. This is obviously not going to be timeless playable, but it's interesting to see this and evaluate it and understand like the untap could be relevant in some cases maybe. But yeah, we shall see. It ends prepared, but it always costs mana to like cast this spell. Even if you can re-prepare it, you have to actually pay the mana again to cast the spell. So not going to see any play now. The next one, on the other hand, is Emeritus of Truth. So there's this Emeritus cycle. I think these are all mythic prepare creatures, and they're supposed to be competitively costed, but obviously for standard, not for timeless. When this creature enters, target player creates a 1/1 wine black inking token. They have actually nerfed inklings to be 1/1s now. Interesting. With flying. Then, if an opponent controls more creatures than you, this creature becomes prepared, and its prepare spell is just Swords to Plowshares. Now, the funny thing about these cards is that they literally can just have spells that already exist. So Swords to Plowshares is just on this card. Which is actually very annoying when you're Scryfall searching, because now when you search Swords to Plowshares, it doesn't just immediately jump to Swords to Plowshares page, it actually goes to the select which card you want and then shows you this one and Swords to Plowshares, which is quite annoying, but it is what it is. And then obviously Swords exiles a creature. So 4 mana 3/3 remove a creature. That's 4 mana 3/3 make a 1/1 remove a creature, or 4 mana if they have more creatures than you. If they don't have more creatures than you, it might be 4 mana, give your opponent a 1/1 remove a creature. That's not that good. And then if they just have if they have less creatures than you, regardless, if you have another creature in play already, you're always this is never gonna be prepared. So you 4 mana make a 1/1, and that's it. In standard, Swords of Plowshares is gonna be very strong. Because board stalls are a thing in standard, right? Not in this format. This is a limited bomb. If you're playing limited, this is your if you see this in a pack, yoink, it's yours, right? But in timeless, it's just unplayable. I predict this is gonna be unplayable in timeless. It doesn't even really enter prepared, it just makes 1/1s. Nah, man, it's Jover. Alright, Ennis, debate moderator. That's pretty funny. 2 mana 1/1. When it enters, exile one other target creature you control. Return that creature to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So, Charming Prince kind of type beat. At the beginning of your end step, if one or more cards were put into exile this turn, put a counter on it. If this drew a card instead of putting a counter on it, it would actually be playable and timeless. But all these creatures that just buff themselves, nah, not like Erode and Swords to Plowshares is going to remove them. Now, Erode is the first like really interesting one for timeless. 1 mana, destroy target creature or planeswalker is controlled, search their library for a basic land card and put it on the battlefield tap. Now, the cool thing about this is that it's path to exile. It doesn't exile, it only destroys, but it can also hit planeswalkers. That's some decent upside. Now, is path a good card in timeless? No, not if you're not built around it. Like, if you're playing a one-shoot tongue deck and you're like baiting your opponent into searching their library so you could get more cards, sure, that could be good. And I think Erode actually would have been seen play in timeless before this set drops. But in the timeless post Strixhaven, where you have Force of Will, Daze, and all these other effects, I don't think Erode is actually going to see much play in timeless. It's definitely like the most power crept white removal we've seen so far. Like, I think this goes above Get Lost, where Get Lost was 2 mana, destroy target creature, planeswalker, or enchantment. That was very strong, and then they get 2 map tokens, but map tokens can only be activated. Map tokens can only be activated as a sorcery, can only target creatures, and when you do target a creature, it only explores. So you look at the top, you draw a land, or you mill it, and then the creature gets a counter. Like, map tokens were not... 2 map tokens didn't justify destroying your planeswalker or destroying your best creature or enchantment, right? That's why Get Lost was so strong. And I think Erode is kind of in that space where a tapped basic land doesn't justify losing to Fairy Hero of Dominaria, right? The thing is, though, that in standard, there are a lot more basic lands, so this is always going to really ramp your opponent. You can technically destroy your own creature to ramp. That's another thing you can do. You can do that with Path to Exile too, but that's not really a play that anyone ever makes. But yeah, I think this is an interesting one. Keep an eye out on it, but it's not going to see... I predict it's not going to see play in timeless, because we have Swords to Plowshares, Solitude, we have Path to Exile, which doesn't even see any play, we have Prismatic Ending, the Leyline Binding. There's so many good 1 mana or 3 white removal spells that erode just doesn't have a space, in my opinion, unless it's a dedicated deck that wants that effect. But I think even in that deck, Source of Purchase is a better removal spell, so probably not going to see any play. Anyway, Graduation Day, not Guardian Day, Graduation Day. What? Repartee. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell that targets a creature, purposeful card on target creature you control. Interesting, but not going to see any play. Boros A+B, thankfully, is not a playable deck anymore in Timeless. Group Project. The reason also why this is not a good card is because it's an enchantment in a deck that wants to be full of creatures and instant sorceries. So when you have this and all your instants, you don't have creatures to target. When you have this and all your creatures, you don't have things to target your creatures with, right? So this kind of just messes with the deck math in the first place. So cards like this are never good. This has to be a creature that has this effect, because then you can actually target it, right? This has to be an instant, I guess. I don't know, but this has to be one of the types that it cares about. If not, it's just not going to see any play. So no play in Timeless. Group Project. Create a 2/2 red or white spirit creature token. Flashback, tap 3 untap creature you control. Yeah, I don't think this is going to see any play. It's a 2 mana 2/2, and then it's a free 2/2 out of the graveyard, but it's just a 2/2. I don't think this is going to see any play. Like free graveyard flashback, free flashback effects are always whoa, right? You gotta think about them. But I think just a 2/2 is not going to be a good enough free flashback effect, in my opinion. Oops. Unless there's like a token quadrupler deck that somehow goes crazy in Pioneer, but not in Timeless, right? And honestly, by the way, obviously most cards aren't going to see play in Timeless. Let's be real, it's a standard set. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't be too disappointed when you see your favorite card here and I'm like unplayable in Timeless, right? But you know, that's just Timeless, right? It's a very strong format, and cards are held to a very high standard in Timeless. Every card matters, right? Every card in your 60 cards matters, so you can't be playing cards that just don't do enough or have effects or have been outclassed by other cards. You know what I mean? You have to play the best version of every card, and the likelihood that they print the best version of an effect into a standard set is just not very high, right? Anyway, Harsh Annotation. The storyteller creature controller creates an Inkling. That's actually not bad. 2 mana, not for Timeless. Get Lost is just better than this effect, right? Like, as I mentioned earlier, Get Lost gives them 2 map tokens. That's better than giving them an Inkling. And also, Get Lost can target planeswalkers and enchantments, which, yeah, Get Lost is just better, right? Anyway, Honor Bound Page. So 4 mana. No, unplayable. I'm never gonna read it. It's unplayable. It's a 4 mana 3/3 with a bad spell on it. And it's prepared, but still not good. Informed Inkwright. 2 mana Vigilance. Repartee. So whenever you cast an instant sorcery that targets a creature, create an Inkling token. So this is more like it, you know what I mean? Like, where it's actually a creature that cares about you targeting creatures. Probably still not gonna see play in Timeless, but it is a cool go wide kind of thing. But it's just not as good as Young Pyromancer, because Young Pyromancer doesn't care about targeting, it just cares about you casting the spell. So it's probably not going to see any play. Alright. Inkshape Demonstrator. For 4 mana, 3/4, War 2, Liberty, no, unplayable. Interjection. It's yeah, just combat trick, unplayable. Droid Researchers. What is this? Secret Rendezvous. You and target opponent each draw 3 cards. At the beginning of each end step, if an opponent has more cards in hand than you, this creature becomes prepared. This is Brawl Slop. It's going to be a great card in Brawl. Maybe, I don't even know if it is, but yeah, not Timeless. Not in Timeless. Owlin Historian. Flying when this creature enters Surveilled. 1, 3 mana 2/3. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, it gets +1/+1 until turn unplayable. And by unplayable, I mean you're not even like, there's never the only way this makes it into your deck is when you accidentally click it when you're trying to add a different card, and then you immediately take it out of your deck. Like, that's what I mean by unplayable. Practiced offense, like as in like in a football team, not offense like you're offending someone, but offense, you know what I mean? Sorry, my English is like not good, even though it's one of my even though it's like my main language. Technically speaking, German is my first language, okay? Anyway, ooh, okay. I only put counters on each creature. Target player controls target creature gains your choice of double strike lifelink. I mean, these cards that like care about creatures unfortunately aren't gonna be good because Timeless, you won't have the creatures in play to target like this, you know what I mean? You won't get the max value out of this, but this card could be very interesting in like Pioneer maybe, or obviously in Standard if there's like a go wide strategy. This really does it, right? All right, primary research. When this enchantment ends, return target non-permanent card random value 3, let's give it to the battlefield. Beginning of your end step, if a card left your grave at this turn, draw a card. Wow, if this was 4 mana, I would have built a deck around this. This actually sounds really interesting, but at 5 mana, it's just too expensive for Timeless. It's just too expensive. This is like, it's like 5 mana. It gets Narset from the graveyard and puts it onto the battlefield. You get to activate Narset. End step, you draw a card because Narset left, and then every time you like Mystic Sanctuary, end of turn you draw a card. That for 4 mana would have been playable in my opinion. If a card left your graveyard, so even if you're like exiling cards from your graveyard, like Uro or something, it draws a card. This would actually have been playable in my opinion if it wasn't 5 mana. 5 mana is just too much, but close, not gonna lie. All right, Cool Blade. I don't know that word. I'm gonna butcher it. Laureate. Quillblade Laureate, maybe. 2 mana. This is your classic. Every set has a 2 mana 1/1 double striker. End is prepared, and then it can buff itself. That's wait, no, it can't. It gains double strike. Okay, weird. Nah, not gonna see any play, obviously. Rapier Wit. Tap target creature if it's your turn. Put a stun counter on it. Draw a card. They are power, like, not that this matters for Timeless, but they are power creeping. Tap target creature. Draw a card. This used to cost 5 mana back in the day, dude. I swear to God. In Ravnica Allegiance, there was a blue card that was 5 mana, tap target creature, draw a card. I don't even know if it made it not untap, but like it's crazy how they're power creeping this effect. It's not gonna see any play, obviously, but you know, life is life. Okay, rehearse the beta. Bro's talking to himself. That's crazy. Bro's like me for real. Repeat whenever you cast it. Yeah, this creature until end of turn, complete garbage. Now we have lessons in this set, even though we don't have learn cards. That's so interesting. Like again, I don't think there are learn cards in this Strixhaven, which is very weird. Like the only learn cards are from previous Strixhavens, so that's weird to me, man. I don't know. Anyway, return to a non-permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Paradigm. Paradigm is the fixed epic where you exile the spell after casting it, and then after you first resolve it, first resolve a spell with this name, and then you may cast a copy from exile without paying its mana cost at the beginning of each of your first main phases. So you cast this once, and then you get this effect every turn for the rest of the game. I think some of these could be cool if we could get there. Like 7 mana is not for the weak. I don't know if we're ever going to be playing something for 7 mana. If there were competitively costed learn cards, you could get these from the sideboard without having to pollute your main deck with 7 mana cards. But there's no new learn cards, and I don't think there is any real timeless viable learn cards at all. Like Divide by Zero, the 3 mana spell, the 3 mana blue spell that bounces a card or a spell and then learns. That's like the closest to viable, but it's also a 3 mana not even counter spell, and the same effect can be done by a land called Sink into Stupor, or Silver. I don't remember what the land of Sink into Stupor is called, but whatever, right? So it's not really. It's not gonna. Nah, man. Nah. I don't think any of these is really gonna see play unless there's one that is so broken that it's just so good, but nah. Anyway, Shattered Acolyte, 2 mana, 2/2 lifelink, sacrifice a sword. Yeah, no, not gonna see any play. Soaring Stone Guard, probably also not gonna see any play, not gonna lie. This will cost a spell, exile 2 cards in your graveyard or pay 2. Nah, unplayable. This is like, this could, nope, it's not even a, I was gonna say this could be pauper playable, but it's not even a common, so nope. Spirit Call Enthusiast, 3 mana 3/3 with another pump spell on its prepare. Unplayable, not gonna see any play. Stand up for yourself. Destroy target creature with power 3 or greater. If this was 2 mana, that would be great, but it's 3 mana, so it's unplayable. Stirring Hope Singer. 3 mana, 1/3 flying, repartee. You have to target a creature. Nope, not gonna see any play. Stone Docent. 2 mana, 3/1. Exile this card from your graveyard. You gain 2 life and surveil 1. Only exile active, only as a sorcery. Very aggressive card. Probably gonna be a limited card, but not in Timeless, obviously. Summoned Dromedary. 4 mana, 4/3. So there were no playable Timeless cards in white. The closest we got to playable in Timeless was Erode. I don't think any other card is going to see play in Timeless in white. And obviously for Colorless, it's the closest we got was Dawning Archaic, but I don't think it's going to see play. So Colorless and white have 0 playables in Timeless. Let's see what blue got. Alright, Banishing Betrayal. Return target non-permanent to its owner's hand. Surveil 1. If it was like, instead of Surveil 1, if it was Learn, that would actually be so good. But, nah, not going to see any play. Brush Off. The spell costs 2, 1 of the ballistic cards if it targets an instant or sorcery. Counter target spell. This is big for Standard, I'm not gonna lie. Standard basically getting counter spell is really good. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But, obviously not gonna see any play in Timeless. If this was, okay, hear me out, okay? If this was 5 mana and it cost 3 less to cast, then it would trigger up the Beanstalk and then it might have seen play in Timeless. But the way it is, it's not gonna see any play in Timeless. Alright, Campus Composer. Wow, bro, what the fuck? No, not gonna see any play. I'm not even gonna read it out. Chased Inspiration. Your classic mandatory every set there is a blue 1 mana spell that gives a creature hexproof. Unplayable. Well, not unplayable. This is just another Brawl Slop card for your Jacob Hawken deck to make it even better. So no. Deluge Virtuoso. Let's see. 3 mana 2/2. When this creature, that's a lot of text. When this creature enters, tap target creature and opponent controls and put a sun counter on it. Opus. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, this creature gets +1/+1 at the end of turn. If 5 or more mana was spent to cast it, gets +2/+2 at the end of turn. Why are we buffing? Why are we like pumping a blue creature? Like, come on, man. Like, it could have been draw a card or draw 2 cards. Whatever. Moving on. Unplayable. Moving on. Divergent Equation. Double X blue. Return up to X target instant sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. And then you exile it. So the reason why this card exiles itself is so you can't infinitely loop it and a spell that like makes mana or something. But I think this could still see play in some kind of like Pioneer Doppelgang deck. It's not gonna see any play in Timeless, but I mean maybe, who knows? Maybe, but I don't think so. Like, I don't like on its own it won't see any play in Timeless. Anyway, the Echo Casting Symposium. This is the paradigm of blue. Target player creates a token that is a copy of target creature you control. Why target player but then target creature you control? And why not target permanent you control? This is like, if this was target permanent you control, I would unironically play this. Like, because that would be really cool, because then every turn you would make a copy of a land if you didn't have anything good, right? But like every turn making a copy of a Quantum Riddler would actually be really cool. But the way it is right now, I just don't want to play this card because it's only targeting creatures I control, and then that's weird. That's just worded weirdly. I don't know. That's probably a reason why they worded it like this. Like, why target creature you control and not target permanent you control or target creature? Like, why does it have to be a creature I control? Why can't I make copies of a creature they control? You know what I mean? Anyway, like this card, if you have no board and your opponent has a board, you're never winning. You literally can't, like, this card does literal nothing because you can target yourself and then you have nothing to target with the second part. Anyway, you got the Emeritus in blue, 5 mana. Yeah, Flying Ward 2 enters prepared, and then everyone's gonna be like, whoa, because it has Ancestral Mother Flippin' Recall. Now, this one actually could see play. I think this one actually could work. The only problem is that Quantum Riddler, call me absolutely nuts, Quantum Riddler draws more cards than this. Quantum Riddler draws more cards. Quantum Riddler draws more cards when it gets warped. Then it draws a card when you actually cast it, and then if you're low on cards, it will draw a card every turn, right? This one here enters prepared, draws 3 cards, which is a burst of cards, and then whenever it attacks, you may exile 8 cards from your graveyard, and if you do, it becomes prepared. Which actually is I think it's very strong that it has a self-sustained way of re-preparing itself. So honestly, man, this could actually see play. I think this is like one of those cards that could actually see play. So keep an eye out for Emeritus of Ideation. It might actually see play. Encouraging Aviator, on the other hand, not even gonna read it. I'm not even reading that, bro. But yeah, Ancestral Recall technically in casting Ancestral Recall in standard is crazy. That is crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Essence Scatter, counter a spell, good reprint, but not a timeless card. Brawl Slop. Exhibition Tide Caller, 1 mana, 0/2, opens whenever you cast a sorcery. Whoa. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery, target player mills 3 cards. If 5 or more mana was spent to cast that spell, target player mills 10 cards instead. Interesting. This could replace Ruin Crab, but Ruin Crab is so good because it triggers off of lands entering instead of off of spells being cast. I don't know. It could. Who knows? Who knows? Here's our bomb. Flow State. Flow State is crazy. So, like, okay, well, let's read it. Wall of text. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Okay? Sorcery, by the way. Put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom. If there is an instant card and a sorcery card in your graveyard, instead, put 2 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom. In any order, right? So it's really bad Anticipate, right? 2 mana, look at 3, take 1, right? But if you have an instant and a sorcery, you take 2 instead. Okay, that is not bad. Like, so See the Truth is, I think, one thing we can compare it to, where See the Truth is, again, sorcery, look at top 3, take 1, but then if you cast it from anywhere else, you just take all 3, right? This one here doesn't take all 3, but it gets 2, and it's very easy to set up. Like, getting an instant sorcery in your graveyard is just casting a flow state and then forcing a spell, and then you have it, right? And then all your other flow states are going to draw 2. This is one of those tempo card advantage cards that could really do well. Like, and don't forget, like, in like, and this is a place where I don't think you expect this card to be seen, but I've been theory crafting in Izzet Ral Storm deck. And Ral reduces flow state to 1 mana. So now flow state is a 1 mana draw 2. That sounds very strong. Also, what was it? Flow state, Force of Will. Force of Will. Flow state, Force of Will, Source to Plowshares. Force to Plowshares. Flow state, Force of Will, Source to Plowshares, Fetch Land, Force to Fetch Land. Just saying. Anyway. Fractal Anomaly. Instant spell, will create a 0/0 green blue factory token. And then put X counters on it, where X is the number of cards you've drawn this turn. So it's on your turn, this is always a 1/1. If you cast a Brainstorm, it's a 4/4 on your turn. That actually could work. A 1 mana 4/4? In like a Delver strategy, this could actually work. In like a Delver-ish strategy, right? You cast Brainstorm Fractal Anomaly on turn 2. Turn 1 Delver. Turn 2 Delver flips because with Fractal Anomaly. Brainstorm. Fetch away your bad cards. Fractal Anomaly. Make a 4/4. Hit them for 3. Next turn, hold up Daze Force of Will. Next turn, you're hitting them for 7. That actually could work. So all you tempo players, try this out. It could actually work. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Anyway, Fractalize. On the left turn, target creature becomes a blue-green fractal, base power toughness equal to X plus 1. This one's unplayable. Harmonized Trio. 1 mana. Like, these are the ones, right? 1 mana. tap it and 2 untapped creatures. This creature becomes prepared, so can't become prepared on the turn it's played. And then 1 mana for Brainstorm. Brainstorm in standard, by the way, just saying. Brainstorm, Ancestral Recall, both in standard is crazy. Cool art, by the way. But I don't know. I don't think this was gonna see play in Timeless. You need 3 creatures to survive. This might play in like a Azorius Ocelot Pride deck, maybe with like Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls, this card. That actually, yeah, that's probably where this is gonna see play. Like Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls, this card, Mockingbird, Ajani. I think maybe in Jeskai or Azorius Energy, as in like Ocelot Pride Energy. This actually could be a card. I feel like that could actually see play. It's 1 mana and it's 1 mana to Brainstorm. That actually could work. I'm not building that deck because I'm not an aggro player, but honestly, I can see it. Homesickness. 6 mana instant. Target player draws 2 cards. Tap up to 2 target creatures. Put stun card on each of them. Yeah, that was my reaction to that card. Unplayable. Hydro Chandler. Add 1 boost, spend a mana or cost as sorceries. Pay 1 mana of any color, spend a mana or cost as sorcery. So filter or add mana. Unplayable. Jadzi is back. Jadzi, Steward of Fates. 3 mana. 2/4. Jadzi enters prepared. When Jadzi enters, draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. Okay. And then 1XX, create X00 green and blue fractal creature tokens. Then put X counters each fractal you control. So you make XXXs. But X is 2. X is like it's a double X spell. It's not gonna see any play in Timeless, but it's an interesting card for sure. Funny enough, this commander is blue only, not blue and green, even though it mentions green on the card. The word green doesn't give you the green identity. You have to have a symbol. So sad. Landscape Painter. 5 mana, draw 2 cards. Nope. Mana Sculpt. This is mana drain, but if you control a wizard. Counter spell if you control a wizard. Add amount of gray equal to the, yeah, so mana drain. That wasn't my reaction to the card, I'm just tired. Cool card, but not going to see play in Timeless because Mana Drain is already on Timeless, and Mana Drain is going to be a niche, unplayable card in the new format, so you know what I mean. Mathemagics. Great name, great flavor. Target player draws 2 to the X cards. They had to put the rules text on it because people can't do math. I know math is hard. I'm joking. This is the now easiest way to mill your opponent out. It's way faster than Blue Sun Zenith. If you can make 32 mana, Blue Sun Zenith would make your opponent draw 32. But with this, X is if you make 32 mana, X is well, you don't even need to make 32 mana. You need to make no, sorry, my bad. You only need to make 12 mana, right? No. Yeah. You only need to make 12 mana. 14 mana for the blue. If you can make 14 mana, your opponent will draw 64 cards and die. So this is the fastest way to mill your opponent out if you just have a lot of mana. So this could technically see play in Timeless. Again, that is a Storm deck that just wants to cast Seething Song, Mana Morphose, and Jeska's Will that I'm trying to build. That could work. But the problem is, if you want to mill your opponent out, just play Brain Freeze, which is also on Arena now. So, yeah, probably not gonna see play in Timeless. But again, bear in mind, if you have a way to make 14 mana, your opponent dies. Like, no questions asked. Your opponent is dead, and they die before they can use the cards they draw because they die to a state-based effect. So, this one is interesting. Matter Bending Mage. When this creature enters, return up to 1 target creature on his hand. When you cast a spell with excess mana cost, this creature can't be blocked this turn. Unplayable. Muse Seeker. 2 mana, 1/2 opens. Whenever you cast a sorcery spell, draw a card, then discard a card unless 5 more mana was spent. At first, I thought this would be broken as hell. I thought this would be the new up the beanstalk creature, you know what I mean? But it's always a draw discard, and it's only instant sorceries. And it cares about mana spent, so you can't even cheat the mana cost. So no, this card is not going to be playable. Uses encouragement. 5 mana create it. No. Orisa. Orisa. I'm getting flashbacks from times I play Overwatch. Anyway, Orisa Tide choreographer. She's very pretty, goddamn. Merfolk Bard, 2, 4, 5 mana 2/2. She better do something crazy when she enters the battlefield. This spell costs 3 as to cast if creatures you control have total power 10 or greater. No, not in blue. When she enters for 2 cards. So a 2 mana 2/2 that draws 2 cards if you have 10 or more power in play. I mean, to be fair, like, if you're playing Merfolk with all the Merfolk lords, maybe? But nah, man, nah. Wait, hold on. Pause. Banned Merfolk with Up the Beanstalk. You get Force of Will, you get Orisa, which is your budget, what's the card? It's your budget Quantum Riddler, right? Nah, no, probably not gonna see any play in Timeless, probably not. Pensive Professor. Increment. So this is the first time we see increment. Whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana you spent to cast a spell is greater than this creature's power or toughness, so it triggers on both ends. Put plus a counter on this creature. Okay. Whenever one or more counters are put onto this creature, you draw a card. It's a 3 mana 0/2 that does nothing the same turn, but if you force a spell, you draw a card off of it until this thing has 5 power. That's not bad. I mean, you play this on turn 3, you daze a spell. Daze has more mana value than its power. You draw a card and this becomes a 1/2. Then you force a spell again. It could work, but I think 3 mana is a little too expensive. I think if this was a... Ironically, I think if this was a 2 mana 1/2, it would be weaker in other formats because you can't play a 1-drop to draw a card, but it would be stronger in Timeless because it would be competitively costed. Like, why would you play this over any other threat, over Dragon's Rage Chandler? You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, I don't think this one's gonna see play. Arguably the best name for a card in this set, Procrastinate. This one is crazy good, but its effect isn't that good, unfortunately. Tap target creature, put twice X stun counters on it. It's not that good of an effect, but I love the card and I love the idea. It's funny. Quick Study. Oh, Quick Study is... I was gonna say, wait, I swear Quick Study is already a card, because in my head I forgot that reprints are a thing. Just 2 mana, 3 mana, draw 2. This actually still play in Pioneer. Obviously not in Timeless though. Run Behind. 4 mana, costs 1 less if it targets an attacking creature. Target creature puts its choice on top or bottom. They are also slowly but surely trying to power creep the put a creature on top or bottom effect. But this one isn't very good, so I'm not going to see any play. Again, if this was 5 mana and reduced it by 2, then it would trigger up the Beanstalk and might be viable. But it's 4 mana, so it's unplayable. Sky Coach Conductor. All aboard. Exile target non-pilot creature you control. Then return that card to the battlefield on its own control. What the hell? I guess it's a pilot, so it can't target itself. Enters prepared. Interesting. This is probably just to stop infinite combos. Infinite combos where, like, right? It's probably just to stop infinite combos where a creature entering gives you mana, so you can target itself over and over again. Weird. Anyway, Spellbook Seeker. Careful Study. Draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. But it's a 4 mana 3/3, not playable. Tester of the Tangential, 2 mana 1/1 increment, so whenever you cast a spell with mana value greater than its power or toughness, it grants a counter. And then at the beginning of combo of your turn, you may pay X, where when you do, Remove X possible encounters from this creature onto another target creature. Interesting, but not playable. Textbook Tabulator. Another increment card. When this creature, I'm not going to read increment again, but when this creature enters, it's just surveil 2. Nope. Unplayable, Wisdom of the Ages, 7 mana! Return all instant and sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Exile Wisdom of the Ages. This could technically be a slot in the wishboard for show and tell. But I don't know if it's gonna see. I don't know if it actually makes sense to play. No, it doesn't really make sense to play this, right? This could replace Scholar of Wisdom of the Ages. I just realized it is a riff on Scholar of the Ages. Scholar of the Ages is a 7 mana creature that returns 2 instant sorceries from your graveyard to your hand when it enters the battlefield. So there's this line where you Mastermind's Acquisition for another Mastermind's Acquisition. That Mastermind's Acquisition then gets Scholar of the Ages, but now it can get Wisdom of the Ages. Then your Wisdom of the Ages get all instant sorceries back, which means the Masterminds go back to your hand. Now you have 2 Masterminds, so you can Masterminds for Approach to the Second Sun, cast Approach to the Second Sun, then Masterminds to search your library, get the Approach, cast the Approach for the second time, and win the game instantly with Show and Tell. It's my favorite show. It's my favorite line to win the game off Show and Tell. But yeah. I don't know if it's gonna see play, maybe, but I mean it's kind of just overkill, right? I don't know. Adventurous Eat. So we're now at the black cards and we've been recording for 50 minutes. Oh, I'm so cooked. Alright. Adventurous Eater. Endless Prepared. 3 mana, 3/2. Put a puzzle card on target creature, you gain life. Nah. Arcane Omens. Converge. Target player discards X cards, X number of mana, colors of mana. It's a 5 mana spell, it's probably not gonna see any play. Arnin. Deathbloom Botanist. 3 mana 2/2. When this creature, whenever a creature you control with power or toughness 1 or less dies, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. There's probably a deck that can like drain your opponent out by making infinite creatures and keep killing them. Like this is like a Yawgmoth kill effect, but just play Blood Artist, right? It's cheaper and it also just kills your opponent. If you're going infinite anyway, it doesn't matter if it's 1 life drain or 2 life drain, right? Anyway, Burog Banemaker, 1 mana, 1/1 Death Touch, non-playable. Cheerful Osteomancer. What's an Osteomancer? What's an Osteomancer? I don't know. This creature enters prepared and it has Raised Death. Return to a creature from your give it to your hand. Unplayable. Cost of Brilliance. Target player. Wait, I just realized. There's no board wipe in this set. What? How are they making a set with no board wipe in it? That's weird. Anyway, Cost of Brilliance. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Put a personal counter on up to 1 target creature. There are better effects of this for 2 mana and Timeless, so nope. Decorum Desertion. Oh, this is a paradigm and it costs 5? Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Oh, okay. So this will kill you eventually. You can tell your opponent to make them lose life, but then they get cards. I don't think I think this effect is bad. It's a 5 mana paradigm, which could have been very strong if it just simply said destroy target creature. Yeah, literally, if it just said destroy target creature, this actually could be good. But the draw 2, lose 2, that will kill you eventually, right? I mean, if you have a Sheoldred in play, you're always going to gain life, so maybe. I don't know. I think this is definitely the most playable in Timeless paradigm card because it costs 5 right now. Like, I've not seen the green one, but I'm pretty sure like this might be the most playable one, but the effect isn't amazing. This will kill you very fast in Timeless. Who knows? I also, like, who's tapping 5 mana for a draw 2? You know what I mean? Like, the turn you play it. After that, obviously, every turn for free, it's good, but I don't know, man. Dissection practice. Target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Up to 1 target creature gets +1/+1. Up to 1 target creature gets -1/-1. Okay. Interesting. Okay, Emeritus of Woe. 4 mana Emeritus. It is a demonic tutor on a 5/4. Beginning of your end step, if 2 or more creatures die, it becomes prepared and it enters prepared. So there's a way to prepare it every turn. Not timeless playable. We have literal demonic tutor in timeless. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Because the thing about timeless is that you're never gonna be able to cast the demonic tutor on the turn you cast the Emeritus. You're not gonna have 6 mana. And then even after that, you've put a 5/4 into play that immediately gets Swords to Plowshares, and you drew a card that then gets countered by Force of Will. Like, it's just not playable. Like, these cards unfortunately just aren't playable. That's just how it is. Timeless is just too strong for these cards. Alright, end of the hunt. Oh wait, did I even... Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mention the best card for blue. The best card for blue is obviously Flow State. Keep an eye out for Fractal Anomaly and Mathematics, but Flow State is the best card for sure. Anyway. Eternal Student, 4 mana 4/2 zombie, nope. Foolish Fate, 3 mana destroy target creature infusion. If you gained life this turn, if the creature controller loses 3 life. Not playable. Sorry, I gotta blow my nose real quick. Alright, that was at like 50 minutes, I guess. Foolish Fate. We know that. Not going to be playing timeless. Forum Necroscribe. 6 mana! Or discard a card whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell. Target creates a creature. Reanimate a creature. No. No, I'm not gonna see any play. I was thinking maybe you reanimate this and then you target it with something, but like, what are you targeting it with, man? Like, you... Oh, okay, hold on, pause. I've been evaluating Repartee wrong. I thought that Repartee requires you to target your creature. It's target any creature. So if I Swords to Plowshares with a Repartee card out, it triggers the Repartee. That changes a few things. Because now if I reanimate this for 2 mana, and I have an Atraxa in the graveyard, and then I Fatal Push my opponent's Ragavan, I reanimate Atraxa, that is much stronger than having to put cards in your deck that target my own creatures. I might have misevaluated some of the Repartee cards. I'm pretty sure the most of them are still pretty bad. Like, but like this one, for example, this is now a 2 mana 2/2 that whenever I Swords to Plowshares an opponent's creature, I get a 1/1. That's better than I thought it would be. Yeah, okay. I think most of these are still unplayable, but Informed Ink right now could potentially do something. But I still don't think it's good, but it's better than what I thought it was. Yeah, okay, cool. Good thing I caught that. Grave Researcher. It just costs Reanimate. But then at the beginning of your upkeep, Surveil 1. Then if there are 3 or more creature cards in the graveyard, it becomes prepared. Please don't remove my creature, please. Yeah, so this is just gonna be a 3 mana. This is gonna be 3 mana, gain 3 life because Source of Plowshares is a card, and this is not gonna see any play. Last Grasp. 2 mana -3/-3. Probably not timeless playable. I'm trying to think if instant speed -3/-3, if this is actually stronger than anything that already exists. I think this is power crept, but it's not going to see timeless play. I think if anything, it would be like more Pioneer card. Lecturing Scorn Mage. Human Warlock, Repartee, whenever it gets a counter. Nah, I don't think this is. I don't think that's strong enough. If this was Magecraft and it just got a counter whenever you cast a spell, that would be better. But I don't think it's gonna be good enough. Anyway, Bloodletting. Each one loses 2 life. 2 mana. This picture reminds me of a meme. It looks like a meme, like how going, Am I going crazy, or is there a meme like this? Anyway, whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, this creature becomes prepared. Nah. Also, you can't help but notice, I don't think there is a card that can just become prepared over and over again in a single turn. I'm pretty sure all cards are somehow tied to mechanics that can only happen once per turn, which is unfortunate. Masterful Flourish. Nope. Melancholic Poet. Reaper T. Whenever you cast instant spell that targets a creature, opponent loses. Again, if this was a Magecraft, this would be an actual win condition, but it's not. It's Reaper T, and you have to target something, so you'll run out of targets eventually. Museo Vane's New Dean. 3 mana, 2/3. Yeah, 2/1. Flying. When Museo enters, create a pest. My bad. Creature token. Yeah, pest creature token. Whenever it dies, you gain 1 life. And then Effusion. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, return one target creature card mana by exile from your graveyard to the battlefield. Right, so the amount of life you gained this turn. Oh, that's a hard one to evaluate, but it probably won't see play. Again, all these creatures that enter the battlefield, I want you to do something, right? They're probably not gonna see you play. The cool thing about Museo is that at least it makes a second body when it enters, but again, I don't think so, man. I don't think it's gonna see any play. Maybe, like, you have to think way back and think of like what cards this interacts with, like making a body that you can then instantly sacrifice. And then that body would gain you life. Like, say we had, what's the card called? I've forgotten the name. No, I've forgotten the name. The black sorcery for 1 mana that you choose a card name and their opponent reveals a hand, and if they have that card, they discard it, and then it has flashback, sacrifice a creature. If you had that, and then this guy, you play this guy, you sacrifice and then you have a 1-drop in your graveyard somehow. You sacrifice the pest to make your opponent discard a card, you gain life, and then this guy reanimates your Ragavan. That could actually be good enough for a Timeless, right? But we don't have, I don't know the card name. The card sees play so much in Legacy, like, I don't know the name. Oh my god, I'm losing my memory. But whatever, we don't have that card on Timeless, I'm pretty sure. And, yeah, no. Probably not. 3 mana 2/2 Infusion, -4/4. Nah. Post-Mortem Professor. 2 mana 2/2 Zombie Warlock, can't block. Whenever this creature attacks, each opponent loses life, you gain life. Exile an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Return this card to a graveyard to the battlefield. Nah. Not gonna see you play. Pox Plague, 5 mana, not just smallpox. Each player loses half their life, discards half the cards in their hand, sacrifices half the permanents they control of their choice, round down each time. So if you have 3, you sacrifice 1. Yeah, these Pox effects are like, if your deck is built to win with them, then sure, they really cripple your opponent's resources, but they're not usually good anymore. So no, not Timeless playable, I don't think. It might see Timeless play, like if there's like a black trash Pox deck, it might see play. Like, cause if you have 1 creature in play, you're not sacrificing anything because you're rounding down. Yeah, maybe. I don't think it will see play, but maybe. You never know what black players want to do. Who knows? Pull from the grave, return up to 2 target creature cards. Won't go into your hand, gain 2 life. Nah, unplayable. Rabbit attack until end of turn. Any number of target creatures you control each get +1%. No, unplayable. Ral Zarek, and is it Planeswalker, is now mono black. Guest lecturer. There's been some theories because we're going into a I forgot the name. It's not Plane Shift, right? We're gonna get a set that like really is gonna mess with like our understanding of like of characters, where like it's gonna like color shift a bunch of characters, and there's this weird symbol on him which we don't know what this is because this isn't Witherbloom's symbol, and this obviously is no guild symbol. So the theories are that this is, and Ral is also a guest lecturer. the theories are that this is actually an alternate universe Ral. This isn't our Ral who, like, I don't know, maybe his husband died or something and he became black aligned. No, this isn't that. This is an alternate universe Ral that is black aligned from the start, and he belongs to whatever affiliation this is. And yeah, so his 3 mana Planeswalker with 4 abilities. +1 Surveil 1, -1, any number of players each discard a card. -2, return to a creature card mana value 3 or less from a graveyard to the battlefield, which you can do instantly, by the way. And it's 3 or less, not 2 or less. That's actually very interesting. And then -7, flip 5 coins, target opponent skips their next X turns, where X is the number of coins that came up heads, which is an interesting riff on the original Ral that flipped 5 coins, and then you take an extra turn for each coin that comes up heads. Now overall, I don't know if this Planeswalker will see play. Is Liliana of the Veil just better? Now the cool thing about Ral though is that Lily Veil has this really weird problem where sometimes you don't want to plus her, even though you can, you don't want to because you'd be discarding a good card. With Ral, it's not a plus, it's a minus, and the plus surveils, but you actually can make only your opponent discard. So Ral honestly could be better than Lily Veil. Lily Veil, obviously her ultimate is very good, but really what she does is make your opponent discard every turn. But then there are some turns where you don't plus her, so she doesn't discard. So I feel like on those turns where you wouldn't want to need to discard your opponent because he's already empty-handed, you just surveil, and then you can get Bowmasters back. This is a 3 mana Planeswalker. I think this might be better than Liliana of the Veil, maybe. But again, I don't know, because I think Liliana's ultimate is better for a black deck than Ral's ultimate. But also, obviously, taking a bunch of turns can be good. We'll see. Again, I don't know. This one's a very weird one to evaluate. But I think this, in Timeless, this might be better than Liliana of the Veil. Now, how much play does Liliana actually see? Not that much, right? Like, Liliana of the Veil was one of the cards in, like, black. There was not black trash, because there was a black waste not deck that actually was built around discarding your opponent's cards. But that deck kind of just got outpowered by black trash, so no one really plays Liliana anymore. So we'll see. But I don't know. Anyway. Scathing Shadelock. So, oh yeah, Ral might see play. Ral might actually see play. I don't know if he will, but he might. And also, what other cards were there in black? The Paradigm might see play, but I don't really think so, but it might. But yeah. Anyway. Scathing Shadelock. At the beginning of your first main phase, this creature becomes prepared. So when you cast it, it's not going to be prepared, and then it's unplayable, right? Scheming Silvertongue. Damn, she is very pretty, I will say. She will probably kill me though if I ever try to like approach her. She'll probably just suck my blood until I die, because she is an Vampire Warlock. Sign in Blood. This is a 4 mana 1/3. But it gets prepared at the beginning of your second main phase. So if you cast it first main phase and somehow gained 2 or more life, then it becomes prepared. Yeah, target player draws 2 cards, loses 2 life. Maybe, I don't think so. Not in Timeless, but this is a really interesting one for Pioneer though. Like in a Pioneer mid-range deck, I can totally see this going crazy. So yeah. Send in the Pest. 2 mana, each opponent discards a card, you create a pest. That's it. Nah. Not gonna see any play, no. Sneering Shade Writer. When this creature enters, each opponent loses 2 life. You can gain 2 life. 5 mana! I didn't even read the mana value. That is unplayable. That's unplayable. Tragedy Feaster, 4 mana, Trample, War, discard a card, infusion. If you gain, no, at the beginning of your end step, sacrifice a permanent unless you gain life. Oh, hell no. All now ally shop keep. 3 mana, 2/3, menace, infusion, no. Wander off, 4 mana, just exile target creature, just straight up. Isn't Vraska's Contempt literally better? Isn't Vraska's Contempt exile target creature gain 2 life? And then there's also another card called The End. where it exiles a creature and searches the opponent's creature or planeswalker and searches their library for it and exiles all of those as well. So this is just not competitively costed. It's also just bad. Like we can exile a creature for 4 times less mana. Like, come on now. And the last black card is Withering Curse. All creatures get -2/-2, and if you gain life, you destroy all creatures instead. Here is the board wipe, but it's in black, not blue, not white. This one, if you're a black deck and you want to deal with Boros energy, this is actually a good one. You do have to gain some life to destroy all creatures, but -2/-2 should do the trick most of the time. Maybe. 3 mana board wipe is very interesting, but it's in double black, so it's going to be hard to actually cast it. But to be fair, this actually could go into... Now, is Damnation just better? Damnation is just 4 mana, just no costs attached, destroy all creatures. Damnation probably is better because you have to gain life somehow to make this a destroy all creatures. But, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. We'll see. And that's black. Ral might see play. Withering Curse might see play, but I think that's about it. Moseo is interesting. I feel like if there's a creature combo deck that can sacrifice creatures reliably, I think Moseo actually could be good. So maybe, I don't know. Yeah, alright, cool. Red. Ancestral Anger, pretty sure that's a reprint. Yeah. Exorcism, draw a card. Saw some playing Boros A+B, but isn't gonna see any play today. There's better cards. Archaic's Agony, 5 mana, Converge. I'm not gonna read it because it's too expensive. Artistic Process. 6 damage to a creature. Choose 1, 2 damage to each creature, and then no. 5 mana is too much. Blazing Fire Singer. I thought about this card before because I saw it on like a teaser. Enters prepared and casts Seething Song. Now in Ruby Storm, mind you, I'm pretty sure the way this works is that the Seething Song is also reduced. I'm pretty sure it's also reduced because this is actually casting a copy, right? You may cast a copy of this spell. And Ruby says red spells you cast cost less. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, the Seething Song will also be reduced. So in Ruby Storm, this is a 4 mana, because this costs 2 less, costs 1 less, and this costs 1 less. So 4 mana make 5. So in Ruby Storm, this is actually netting you mana, because the creature enters prepared. This also, obviously in Ruby Storm, if you don't have a Ruby, you can just play this as a blocker that the next turn can then just make you mana. If this was a 2 mana creature, this would unironically be broken in Ruby Storm. But it's not. It's a 3 mana creature. So I think we'll have to try this one. But we also got Jeska's Will and Pyretic Ritual. So we got really efficient cards for Ruby Storm that are just not going to make this playable. If we hadn't gotten the Mystical Archive, I would have tried this in Ruby Storm. But we have Pyretic Ritual. What's the point in playing this guy, right? So yeah, I'm probably not going to see play. But interesting. But probably not going to see play. Haste, discard a card, draw a card, 3 mana, 3/3, no. 2 red. The spell can't be copied, okay. Interesting. Choose one or both. Copy target instant source spell you control. Copy target creature spell you control. It gains haste at the beginning, sacrifices token. Nah, probably not going to see any play because you can't copy this spell, so you can't combo off with it. Dual Tactics. 1 mana, 1 damage to target creature. It can't block this turn. Flashback. No. Emerges of Conflict. Casts Lightning Bolt. Whenever you cast your 3rd spell each turn, this creature becomes prepared. 2 mana, 2/2. Again, can only trigger once a turn. Doesn't enter prepared. It's competitively costed, but the hoops you have to jump through instead of just putting... Like, instead of this, why don't you just play 4 extra copies of a different Lightning Bolt, right? Like, we have Lightning Bolt, we have Bolt Wave. There's so many cards that just deal 3 damage to any target. Like, don't think it's going to see play. Expressive Fire Dancer. Opus, whenever you cast an instantly spell, gets +1 at a turn. 5 more mana was spent, gains double strike. No. Literal Flashback. I think it was... AJH in my server said this should have been called Snapcast Because what you're doing is Snapcaster Mage. Target instant sorcery gains flashback, and the flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. We were thinking this might see play in Ruby Storm, because what you can actually do with this to gain Storm if you have a bunch of extra mana is you can flashback target a flashback that gives another flashback, and then you can flash it back to give another flashback to flashback the flashback, you flashback and flashback again. So that's something you can read, that is something you can do, and that sentence is actually a true thing you can do once this card becomes legal. So flashback is interesting. It's Snapcaster without the body, but it's an instant sorcery, which is important because Ral cares about instant sorceries you cast to make it flip. So I think this card could see play in Ruby Storm. Will it see play in just regular control, for example, like Jeskai control? They cast a spell, you flash it back and target like a counter spell. Probably not, because again, Snapcaster doesn't. I'm pretty sure Snapcaster doesn't let you pitch a card to Force of Will, because the spell gains flashback equal to its mana cost, so you have to pay the flashback cost, right? So yeah, unfortunately, right? I don't think you can pay the alternate cost for flashback, right? It would have to be you may cast the spell from your graveyard to let you pay the alternate cost. If you specifically give it flashback equal to its mana cost, you can't pay alternate costs. So this would be like 1 and a red, white red, exile source of flashes from the graveyard. I don't think this is gonna see play in control, but it might see play in Ruby Storm. Or other Storm decks for that matter. It could see play in other Storm decks too. Anyway, Garrison Excavator, probably unplayable. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 2/2 red or white spirit creature token. If there is a way to just constantly remove a card from your graveyard, this could actually see play. But I don't think there is. And I think this is too expensive. And I think the 2/2s without haste don't really do anything. Alright. 2 mana Goblin Glassright. 2 mana 2/2. Blast with play. Create a treasure token. Okay. Okay, sure. Unplayable. It's not gonna see any play, right? Enter prepared, creates treasure token. Nah. Heated Argument. 5 mana, deals 6 damage to target creature. You may exile a card from your graveyard if you do Heated Argument. Also deals 2 damage to the creature's controller. Unplayable. Funny name, Impractical Joke. That's pretty funny. Damage can't be prevented this turn. It deals 3 damage to up to 1 target creature or planeswalker. Okay, interesting. And then the red Paradigm. Improvisation Capstone. 7 mana. Exile cards from the top of your library until you exile cards with total mana value 4 or greater. You may cast any number of spells from among them without paying their mana cost, and you do this every turn. You will mill out, but you will also have a lot of fun. This is not bad. Like, the way it's worded, right? If you hit Omniscience, you cast Omniscience, right? It's not like a thing where you could only hit the max of 4. It is you keep going until you get 4 mana value at least. It's a very expensive spell, but the effect, I think, this is the best Paradigm effect, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting. I don't think it's going to see play, but this is the best Paradigm effect, whereas the black one was the best costed Paradigm card. Anyway, Living History, 2 mana. When the enchantment ends, create a spirit. When you attack, if a card left your graveyard, +2/+0. Unplayable. Maelstrom Artisan. Destroy target non-basic land. 3 mana, haste, enters prepared. So a 5 mana 3/2 haste that destroys non-basic. I think, like, people were hyping this one up, but I don't think it's gonna see play in Timeless, because we just have Stripmine and that lesson from Avatar that destroys the land. I don't think this is gonna be good enough. I think this is too slow. Let's see. Magma Blood Archaic. 6 mana or 3 red, or any combination. And there's a 1/1 counter for each color spent. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, creatures you control get +1/+0 for each color mana spent to cast that spell. probably not going to see any play at all. But it does trigger Beanstalk. This is a Rexash's bargain situation where if you pay it for 3 red and you have a Beanstalk in play, this triggers Beanstalk. But again, I don't know, man. A 3-mana 3/3 that triggers Beanstalk. Nah, probably not good enough. Probably not. Make a Reader of Ruins, 4-mana, ward, pay 3 life. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, you may sacrifice an artifact. If you do copy that spell, you may choose new targets for the copy. This is your classic Brawl Slop. This goes right into Prosper. This goes right into as your commander if you want to build around it. Not going to see any play in Timeless, but it is what it is. We had a good red card yet. Flashback, I guess, could be interesting. Molten Core, Maestro. Oh my god. Oh my god. There's still so much to go. Oh my god. I'm so good. There's still so much to go. Alright, guys. We're doing a lightning round. I'm just going to say playable and unplayable for each card. Alright. Let me read it. Wave because this is spell purpose unplayable. 5 mana striking palette unplayable. Rearing Embermare Reach Haste unplayable. Rumble Rouser 3 mana common unplayable. Let me actually check it out what it does. Exile card, give it add 1 when you do this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. When this creature enters, you may discard a card if you do not. For 3 mana unplayable. Caesar Spoils. This is a reprint, I'm pretty sure, right? Discard a card, draw 2 cards, create a treasure. Not playable. Doesn't actually combo. This is a wannabe value card, unplayable. Steal the Show, cool name. Choose one or both. Target player discards any number of cards and draws that many cards. Steal the Show deals damage equal to the number of instant sorcery cards in your graveyard to target creature planeswalker. Not playable. It's the fact that it's a May. It has to be a discards their hand, draws that many cards. Then it could be a Narset combo. But other than that, they're really scared of forced draw discard. They only make it May these days. So no. Strive Scholar. That is way too expensive. Yeah, unplayable. Tablet of Discovery. Middle card, you may play that card this turn. Add 1, add red, only to add double, only to cost instant sorceries. A mana rock, unplayable. Not playable in Timeless at least. Tackle Artist, 4 mana, unplayable. Thunderdrum Soloist. Reach, opens whenever you cast instant sorcery, does 1 damage to each opponent. If 5 more, it does 2 damage instead. This actually could see player. This could see player prowess, but probably not. It's just better to play a prowess creature like Strixhaven Show Off. So unplayable. Not unplayable, but unlikely to see play. Tone Blast. 2 damage to any target flashback, unplayable. If this was 3 damage, we might be talking, but 2 damage is just not enough. Unsubtle Mockery, 3 mana, 4 damage to target creature surveil. Nope. Zealous Lorecaster. Which you enter return target instant sorcery after you give it to your hand. 6 mana, unplayable. The only card that I'm kind of interested in, well, not only. So the card I'm interested in is Flashback. Archaic might see play in some kind of weird Gruul Beanstalk deck with like this and Fury maybe, I don't know. And then that's pretty much it. And then this might see play in like a prowess deck, but probably not. Probably not. Yep. All right, green. Lightning round keeps going. I'm not gonna pay too much attention to these cards. 4 mana, 2/5. Whenever you cast this, it gets pumped, unplayable. Additive Evolution. When the Charmer ends, make a 0/0 at beginning of combat on your turn. Put a counter on target which you control against. Nope, unplayable. 5 mana for that? What? A 5 mana 1/1 that grows each turn? What are we doing? Completely unplayable. Jesus. Like for 2 mana, this effect would be bad. What are we doing, Wizards? What are we doing? I mean, obviously it's a standard set, so who cares? But like, damn. Ambitious Augmenter, 1 mana, 1/1 increment. When this creature dies, if it had a counter, if you had 1 or more counters on it, fractal, then put this creature's counters on that token. Maybe, probably not though. Probably not strong enough for Timeless, but interesting card. Burog Barrage. Target creature you control. No. Chelonian Tackle? Plus O+10, that's funny. Then it fights a creature. If that creature has death touch, the plus O% doesn't do anything. Unplayable. Comforting Council. 2 mana on this. Okay. Whenever you gain life, put a growth counter on this enchantment. As long as you have 5 more growth counters, creatures get +3/+3, I'm guessing. No, it's not. It's just not. Like, creature buffing isn't a timeless mechanic that you can play. Like, it's just, sadly, like, most of these cards just aren't playable because they care too much about creatures. In timeless, the only creatures on the battlefield are the best creatures ever printed, and they get removed and board wiped. So, just anything that cares about creatures is just automatically, like, a level below in timeless. So, sadly, that's just how it is. Efflorescence? 2 count again on creatures, unplayable. Emeritus, the green Emeritus, costs regrowth. Enters prepared. Whenever this creature attacks, if you control 8 or more lands, it becomes prepared. And it costs regrowth. Regrowth on its own is not a playable card in timeless. Sadly, I really wish it was. It's a really cool card, but yeah, this is just not going to see any play. Vastlands Roma. No. Environmental Scientist. Whenever this creature enters, you may search a lobby for a basic land, reveal it, put it into your hand. No. If it went onto the battlefield, maybe, but nah, it's the hand doesn't work. Follow the Lumerets. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card or land card from among them, then put it into your hand. If you gain life this turn, you may instead reveal 2 creature and or land cards from among them. Put them into your hand, put the rest on the bottom. 2 mana green, draw 2 if you gained life is actually not that bad. That actually is not that bad, but how are you going to gain the life, though? That's the hard part about these infusion cards. They seem so good if you can get their infusion effect. Like, this could literally just be another flow state, right? This is just flow state number 2 if you can somehow gain life. Obviously, creatures and lands aren't the most powerful card types in Timeless. They're important. Like, this could be a second flow state if you could somehow gain that life. But how are you gaining that life? No, like, life gain is just not an effect that you really are looking for in Timeless. So I think this is just not going to see any play. If the other cards went to Graveyard, this could be good because it would just be kind of like weak and Malevolent Rumble. But, yeah. Alright. Germination Practicum. Oh, a 5 mana green Paradigm, but it puts counters on creatures. No. Oh man. If this literally just made, if this made 2 1/1s instead, this would be an up the Beanstalk triggering cheap Paradigm that costs itself and triggers Beanstalk every turn. But no, it's a freaking put counter on creatures you don't control. Sad. Sad. This could have been it. This would have been it. Like 5 mana in green, cost it every turn, trigger Beanstalk every turn. If this effect was anything other than targeting creatures that you don't control because you're a control deck, this would have been if this was literally proliferate twice, that would have been better than putting counters on creatures. Sad. Anyway, Glorious Decay. Is this another power create return to nature? Destroy an artifact, but it can't destroy an enchantment. 4 damage to target creature with flying, and extra target card from a graveyard, draw a card. I'm pretty sure they've printed a better version of this where instead of 4 damage, it destroys an enchantment. And I think that is stronger. So the other card doesn't see play anyway, so this isn't going to see any play. Hungry. What is this? Graphalon? Increment. Yeah, no. Nope. If I'm a healer, target player gains X life. Like, no. Unplayable. Lumert's Favor. Oh, my eyes. Infusion, if you gain... oh, no. Hell no. It's a pump spell. Unplayable. Mindful Biomancer. Again, nope. Noxious Newt. That's pretty funny. This is just Brawl Slop for your Kinnan deck. Oracle's Restoration. Another target. Get some percentage every time you draw a card and gain 1 life. Weird effect, but no, not gonna see any player. Pest Brood Sloth. 4 mana 4/4. When it dies, create 2 pests. Nope. Planar Engineering, 4 mana, sacrifice 2 lands, search your library for 4 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tab. If this wasn't basic land cards, this card would be broco. But it's basic lands, so sadly this does absolutely nothing in Timeless. That's sad. Shopkeeper's Bane, nope. Slumbering Trudge ends with what? Number of stun counters equal to 3 minus X? Wait, what? Oh, it's 6/6. I was only like looking at the power toughness out of like the corner of my eye, so I was seeing 0/0, and I was like, where? I thought because I thought it was gonna enter an X plus or plus on counters, and I was like, what is going on? So 1 mana 6/6 with 3 stun counters, or 4 mana 6/6. Interesting. 1 mana 6/6 with 3 stun counters. So 1 mana it attacks on turn what? Turn 4, or 4 mana 6/6 vanilla. No other effects. I don't know. It should give you a cool effect. Like it should say something like if X is greater than 3, it gets haste or something, right? Like there's no benefit of putting more than 3 mana into this ever. I don't know. Anyway, Snarl Song, 6 mana. Create 2 fractals? No, unplayable. Studios First Year, Rampant Growth. Search library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield. Creature enters prepared. 3 mana ramp. 3 mana 1/1 ramp is actually decent, but not Timeless decent, sadly. So this might be a Pioneer card, but it's not going to be a Timeless card. 5 mana 4/5 Tenet Concoctor. Sorry, bro, you're not going to see play. Vote for Striker, same thing here. No play. These creatures that buff themselves. There's a lot of +X+O in this format. Like in this set. There's a lot of it. Jeez. Anyway, Topiary Lecturer, increment, add 1 mana. Equal to its creature's power. No. Vostad Scavenger. No, unplayable. Wild Hypothesis, create a 0/0 with X counters Surveil. 1 mana Surveil too, that's pretty funny. And then Wild Growth Archaic. So sadly this one can't trigger Beanstalk, so unplayable. I'm not even gonna read it. And then Zamone's Experiment. 4 mana, look at the top 5 cards of your library, reveal up to 2 creature and land cards are among them, put the rest on the bottom of the library, put all land cards revealed onto the battlefield and all creatures into your hand. Probably not gonna see any play. So we are now finally through all the monocolored cards. Now Strixhaven is a plane that cares about schools, and each school is represented by 2 colors of mana. So on average, the multicolored cards are going to be stronger than the monocolored cards. So that's why, like, most of these monocolored cards don't have a playable Timeless card. So I'm really hoping that the multicolored just sees on play, because honestly, like, green had 0 Timeless playable cards. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, with red, there was at least, like, with the other cards, at least there was like 1 or 2 cards that are interesting. Green had nothing, like literally nothing here is playable. Like, again, the paradigm is so close, but the effect is so bad. And then this, if it could target non-basics, it would be so good, but obviously, nah. So no green playable card. Let's see the multicolored cards. And that's, by the way, the scroll bar on the side, you can't see it. The scroll bar is at like 40%. It's not even like, we're not even near, and this is already a 1.5 hour recording. Let's go. Oh my god. Alright. Abigail. Poet Laureate. 3 mana 2/3. When you cast a creature spell, whenever you cast a creature spell, it becomes prepared? Finally. Okay, so yeah, there is now a card that can become prepared multiple times in 1 turn, but the effect is put counter on target creature. Pain. Unplayable. Abstract Paint Mage. 3 mana 2/2. At the beginning of your first main phase, add blue-red only to cast instant sorceries. Nope. Apply geometry. Create a token that's a copy of target non-aura permanent you control, except it's a fractal creature in addition to its other types. Put 6 counters on it for 4 mana. I mean, it's not going to see any play probably, but you can do some weird things with this because there are some permanents that are not supposed to be creatures, and making a copy of a permanent that is a creature, you can get some weird effects with this, right? Like, you can, like, there are some cards here that can be really weird. Like, for example, I don't know, obviously this is not timeless territory here, but like, for example, right? I don't know. You can have planeswalker creatures here, or like you can have like, yeah, there's some weird things you can do with this. Anyway, Arc of Hunger, 4 mana. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, deals 1 damage and you gain life. And then mill a card, you may play that card this turn. 4 mana is a little slow for this effect. It's a decent effect. It's kind of like drawing you a card every turn, because you can, like, it's kind of impulse drawing you a card every turn, but and then also draining your opponent. There's probably a combo here where you can keep making cards leave and enter your graveyard to like drain your opponent out. But I think 4 mana is too slow. Unless this enters the battlefield and it instantly wins you the game. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think this is going to see play, but it could. Who knows? Prove me wrong, guys. Build a deck with this and make it work in timeless. Aziza, Mage Tower Captain. 2 mana, 2/2. Whenever you cast an instant spell, you may tap 3 untap creature until if you do copy that spell, you may choose new targets for the copy. Whenever you cast a spell, okay. Dare I say Brawl Slop? Berta, Wise Extrapolator? 4 mana increment. Whenever one or more +1 is put on Berta, add 1 mana of any color. And then tap, create a fractal. Interesting. I don't know. Whenever a counter is put on it, you add 1 mana. This totally goes infinite with something, but I can't think of it right now. So maybe some Brawl Slop infinite combo. Maybe there is an actual timeless infinite combo with this, because even without the increment, if you just put a counter on it any other way, it makes a mana. So there might be something where it's like, say you have something that if there's an effect that for 1 mana puts a counter on this, you have an infinitely sized Berta, right? If there's an effect that somehow can make multiple triggers of putting counters on things, you make 1 mana for each time you do that. There's totally some infinite combo with this, but I can't think of it right now, so you guys figure it out. Bletch, Loathing Pest. It's a pest. Whenever you gain life purposeful counter on each pest, bat, insect, snake, and spider. I thought we're done with this Bloomburrow wording, but okay. Bad flavor. Like, was it that hard to add the line when this creature dies, gain 1 life? Because that's just what pests do. I don't know. Just bad flavor in my opinion. Alright, Bogwart Lumeret. 2 mana. Whenever this creature or another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. Just a life gainer. I don't know. Borrowed Knowledge. Choose 1. Discard your hand, then draw a card that equals the number of cards in target opponent's hand. Dude, if I ever Tamio Ultimate and my opponent casts this, I am going to mold, okay? Obviously, I'll have Force of Will, but like, you get the point, right? I might just let this resolve just because it's funny. If I Tamio ult and they cast this, I will just let it resolve. And you discard your hand, then draw a card equals the number of cards discarded this way. So you can either wheel or discard and wheel equal to your opponent's card. This is very interesting, but I don't know. Very interesting. Don't ever target your opponent with this if they have a Psychic Frog. They will just then, in response, discard their whole hand, and you will draw nothing. Cauldron of Essence. Whenever a creature you control dies, Oh yeah, by the way, this isn't timeless playable. I'm joking around. Whenever a creature control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Whenever creature you control dies. So this is an infinite. If you have a sack outlet and a creature that comes back, this is infinite. Okay. And then you have a weird sacrifice a creature. Okay, maybe. I think there are better outlets to like kill your opponent if you have infinite sacking, but the fact that this isn't a creature and can't be removed by creature removal could be interesting, but I don't know. Color Storm Stallion, 3 mana 3/3, 1/1 haste. My honest reaction to this card. Whenever you cast instant sorcery, it gets some turn. Yeah, no. Well, hold on. Oh. If the card has 5 mana, you create a copy. That's pretty cool. That gets out of hand quickly, but again, Opus sadly is balanced where you actually have to pay the mana. If it doesn't trigger off Force of Will, because Force of Will you didn't pay any mana, so sadly Opus doesn't trigger. You only get the weak Opus mode when you Force of Will. You don't get the strong Opus mode. If Opus was based on mana value and not mana spent, that would actually be really. This actually could be really good, but no, it's not. So unfortunate. Colossus of the Blood Age, 6 mana. When this creature enters, deals 3 damage to each opponent, you gain 3 life. So Lightning Helix on a 6/6. And then when this creature dies, discard any number of cards, draw that many cards plus 1. I don't know why I'm yawning so much this video. I'm not even that tired. Anyway, I'm not gonna see any play. Bro, no, wait, give me a sec. Oh, there's lands. Okay, we're good. There's just a bunch of lands. Oh my god. I thought for a sec, like, I'm looking at the scroll bar on the side and we're not even halfway. So I was like, bro, how many cards? But there's just a bunch of lands, so we're good. I can almost go back to bed. Alright, 4 mana, Orzhov, or Silver Quill, if you want to be more modern. When this creature enters, draw a card. Each player loses 1 life. Okay. And then repartee. Whenever you cast instant spell targets a creature. What? It just ephemerate a creature. Okay. Nah, it's not gonna see any. Oh wait, hold on. Exile. You can target this thing. So whenever you remove a creature, you can make it re-enter, then draw another card. I don't think this is timeless playable, but if this was like 3 mana and was a 3/3, it might be timeless playable, but I don't know, maybe. Probably not though. Alright, Cuboid Collie, very funny card. 2 mana 1/1, flash, flying, trample, increment. It doesn't draw a card. It's not good. Sad. Funny card though. I find this very funny. I find this very cool. It's like a swarm of bees, and they always are a cube. That's really cool. I love this art. This is sick, but not a playable card in timeless. Sadly, yeah, I don't think this is a playable timeless card. Right? Like, nah, it's just not. It's not good enough, right? I mean, you flash this in, then you daze something as a 2/2, you force something as a 3/3, but like that's just not fast enough, right? Like, Delver of Secrets flipping and then becoming a 3/2 is just better, right? So sadly, I don't think this is playable. Search a library for a creature card, reveal it. Oh yeah, this one, Dina's Guidance. So this one's actually interesting. So this is instant speed, 3 mana, search a library for a creature card, reveal it. Then you can put it into your hand or into your graveyard. So this one I actually think could be decent and timeless in some kind of Golgari mid-range deck, where this gets Grief to check your opponent's hand, or it gets Atraxa to reanimate. Like, it's like you can choose what to do with this, and the modality of it makes it good. I think this card could be good, but we'll see. We shall see. Elemental Mascot. Opus. No, unplayable. Embrace the Paradox. Draw 3 cards. You put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. 5 mana? Nah. It's just not a good spell, sadly. Essence Knit Scholar. 3 mana, 3/1. When this creature enters, create a pest. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died, I need to control, draw a card. Probably not going to be good enough. Also, it's a 3-1 and 1-3. It just gets bone mastered. Fix what's broken. This is cost the spell. Pay X life. Return each artifact and creature card with mana value X. With with X to engage the battlefield. So if this was X or less, that would be more interesting. But it's kind of like a weird rally the ranks type effect. I don't think it's going to be good enough. Sadly, I don't think it's going to be good enough. Like, I'm thinking here, like, Martyr Energy, paying 1 life and bringing back all the Ocelot Prides and Guy of Souls. But if they could pay 2 and bring back everything, that would be so much better. So the fact that it's locked to specifically X, it's, like, not good enough. Fractal Mascot. Oh, yeah, I forgot that there's mascots for all the houses. Probably not going to see any play Fractal Mascots. It's too expensive. And then when it enters, no. Goodbye. Fractal Tender, 5 mana, Ward 2 increment. Beginning of each end step, put a personal counter on. If you put a counter on it, create a fractal. No. Geometer's Arthropod. 2 mana, 1/4. Whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana cost, look at the top X cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom. Your library at any random. I don't know why I froze there. I don't know what took me so long to read this part. Brawl Slop ? For an X spells commander. This one is very interesting. If there were more viable X spells in Timeless, like, think of it this way. This is like, you have this in play, you play Wanchi Tong and for 1, and then you draw a card. Right? I don't think this is good enough, but you have this in play, you play Prismatic Ending, you draw a card, right? Depends on how many viable X spells there are. This could be interesting, because it's like, yeah, this could be interesting. Who knows? Anyway, Grapple with Death, 3 mana, destroy target artifact or creature, you gain 1 life. Probably not going to see any play. Well, no, it's definitely not going to see any play. It's just not competitive enough. Growth Curve, put a personal counter on target creature, then double the number of counters on that creature. If there's a one-shot kill deck, maybe, but I don't think there is. And it's not going to be Simic if there was, so no. Hardened Academic. I think this is the card everyone was saying is the new Boros Psychic Frog. Or Lorehold, if you want to be more modern about what you call red and white, but I'm going to stick to Boros. Flying Haste, discard a card against lifelink. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, put a personal counter on target creature you control. I don't think this is a Psychic Frog because it obviously has a thing where you can discard as much cards as you want, but it doesn't actually exile cards on its own from the graveyard, and it also doesn't draw a card. So it's not going to be Psychic Frog. Probably not even going to see any play, I'm not going to lie. Imperious Ink Mage. 3 mana, 3/3. When this enters, surveil 2. Vigilance. No. Inkling Mascot, 2 mana, 2/2, repartee, whenever you cast an surveil 1. No, it gains flying on turn, surveil 1. No. Killian's Confidence, 2 mana, target creature gets put, no. Whenever one or more creatures you control, deal combat damage to. Oh, no? What? Oh, okay, I see. You're coming up to a play, repay Orzhov. If you do, return this card from grave to your hand. I see, okay. I see. Okay, hold on. Hear me out. This could actually see play. I don't think it will. I think the effect is not good enough. But no, I don't think it's gonna see play, but the effect, like the kind of like punching fire type beat effect, where like it can come back from the graveyard over and over again. That's cool, but I don't think it's the effect on this actual spell is good enough to see play. Draw a card is always interesting, but you have to actually target a creature to resolve this spell. So if you don't control a creature or whatever, I don't think that's good. Alright, Kirill, history buff. Red and white vampire cleric, what the hell? Whenever one or more creatures, then one or more cards leave your graveyard, it becomes prepared, and then mill a card, put 2. Nah, unplayable. Is this double L? Lewin? Exchange student? Sure. Elf Druid. It enters prepared. Exile a creature card from your graveyard, becomes prepared. Activate only as a sorcery. It can become prepared over and over again, but it only makes a pest, sadly. So probably not going to see any play. Could be some decent brawl slop though, so who knows. Like this is like it's a brawl commander that like makes sack fodder every turn all the time. So maybe. Lawhold Charm. Oh yeah, there's charms. I completely forgot. Choose one. Each opponent sacrifices one token artifact of their choice. Goodbye one ring. Return target artifact or creature card mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Hello, Ocelot Bride. And creatures can target +1/+1 gain trample in turn. Could win the game if you have like a bunch of cat tokens from Ocelot Bride. But I think overall this command isn't strong enough for Timeless. Sorry, 1 second. We have now been recording for... Oh, it's only been 15 minutes since the last check the time. Nice. Lorehold, Historian, 5 mana, Elder Dragon. Flying Haste. So the Elder Dragons in this set, they all give your instant sorceries bonkers effects. So Lorehold is the 5 mana 5/5 with Haste that says each instant sorcery card in your hand has Miracle 2. So you can cast a miracle card for its miracle cost when you draw it, if it's the first card you drew this turn, which gets around timing restrictions. At the beginning of your upkeep, of each upkeep, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. I'm actually very interested in Lorehold. I think, obviously, it's a 5 mana card. I don't know how good that will be. But Miracle is a very strong mechanic. Miracle for 2 is a bit weird. I don't know how good that will be. Probably not too good. Because here's the thing, right? Most cards in your Timeless deck are either going to cost 1 or be free. Like, so the Miracle 2 is low-key just more expensive. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, like, if this was released in today's Timeless, it would be interesting. But in the Timeless we're going into, I don't think this is going to see any play. Mind into Matter. Which is a funny wordplay on mind over matter, I think. Anyway. X and blue green. Draw X cards. They may put a permanent card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Nah, no, not gonna see any play. Mind Roots. Target player discards 2 cards. Put up to 1 land card discarded this way onto the battlefield, tapped under your control. Okay, weird. You can make your opponent discard 2. If they discard a land, you get it. Interesting. Molten Notes. X red white. Molten Note deals damage to target creature equal to the amount of mana spent to cast this spell. Untap all creatures you control. Flashback 6 red white. I mean, Molten. I don't know why it's a sorcery untapping your creatures. Like, if you just play this without the X, you deal 2 damage to target creature, and then it untaps your creatures. I don't think it's Timeless playable, but it's an interesting effect, right? Alright, Moment of Reckoning. Choose up to 4. You may choose the same mode more than once. 7 mana, by the way. Are the archaics like the bad guys? They're getting like the Loki's getting jumped, right? Anyway, destroy target non-permanent 4 times. Or to return target permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield 4 times. If it was land, if you could destroy lands, this would be more interesting, but I don't think this is gonna see any play. Not in Timeless, at least. Neither Form Counselor. Oh no, Conciliator. I just read my brain auto completed that word. Human Advisor, 3 mana 2/3. Whenever you cast a spell you don't own, put a counter on it. Sacrifice another creature. Exile target instance from an opponent's grave. You may cast it this turn. Mana special caster. Blah 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 blah. You get the drill. Brawl Slop. I'm not gonna see any player in Timeless. Old Growth Educator. Educator. What I'm getting tired. I can't read. I can't read anymore. It's over. It's been too much magic cards. Trivial Druid, 4 mana 4/4, Infusion when you gain life, not playable, goodbye. Paradox Surveyor. When this creature enters, look at the top 5 cards of the library. You may reveal a land card or a card with X in its mana cost. Put it into your hand, the rest on the bottom. Probably not going to see it in play, but very interesting, like, logic to get a card. Probably not going to see it in play though. Pest Mascot. Trample, whenever you gain life, put a count on this creature. Nope. Why is it an 8? Anyway, practiced Scrollsmith. First strike, when this creature enters, exile target non-creature. I'm so lost on the source right now, bro. I'm zoning the hell out. When this creature enters, exile target non-creature, non-land card from your graveyard until end of turn you may cast that card. Not playable. Prismari Charm, Surveil to draw a card for 2. That's not too bad, I guess. 1 damage to target to each of up to 2 targets. Okay, each of 1 or 2 targets. So kill Ocelot Pride and kill a cat token, I guess. And then return target non-permanent to its owner's hand. Probably not strong enough for Timeless. It's cool to see these commands, but they're not strong enough for Timeless for the most part. Prismari, the inspiration. This is the dragon. Instant sorcery spells you cast have Storm. That is very strong, but probably Brawl Slop, since we're never getting a 7 drop into play in Timeless. Like, and reanimating this over reanimating a Traxxas just isn't worth it. So yeah, like, sad, I guess. Proctor's Gaze, 4 mana instant. Return up to 1 non-permanent card to its owner's hand. Search a library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield. Nope, unplayable. Professor Delian Fell. See how he doesn't have a logo? You know what I mean? That, like, this is like interesting. Interesting how Ral had that weird logo and he doesn't. That's why people are like suspecting that maybe that Ral is from a different universe. Anyway, 4 mana, 4 abilities. Jace the Mind Sculptor type beat. 2+2 gain 2 life. 0 draw a card, lose 1 life. Destroy target creature. Get an emblem whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Silent Blood type beat. This is a decent value planeswalker, but I don't think it's going to be really timeless playable. Golgari just isn't the type of deck that can go that big. And if you're going to be playing Sultai, I think Jace the Mind Sculptor is a better card. So, yeah. Sadly, but probably not going to see any play. In Timeless, at least. In Standard and Pioneer, this actually could be a bomb, but not in Timeless. Pterafractal, get it, because Pterodactyl, that is a pretty funny riff on a word. I like that. 2 and X, play it for 2 and dies instantly on entering, and then enters with X counters. When this creature enters, you gain 2 life. Okay, 2 mana, gain 2 life, sure. Not playable, by the way, completely unplayable. Pursue the Past, gain 2 life, discard a card if you do draw 2 cards. Flashback. Nah, maybe in some reanimator type shell, but no, probably not. Probably not gonna see any play. Quandrix Charm, counter target spell unless control plays 2. Now we're talking. Destroy target enchantment. Target creature has base power 5/5. The other modes, apart from the counter spell, aren't viable enough in my opinion. So no. Quandrix the proof. Has Cascade, and then instant sorcery spells cast from your hand have Cascade. So if you cast a spell from your hand, obviously you just get another spell. Probably not going to see any play though. Again, these are usually Brawl Slop. So yeah, do with that information what you will. Rapturous Moment. Interesting. So it's 6 mana, draw 3 cards, discard 2 cards. So card neutral-ish. Yeah, card neutral, and then you make 5 mana. So if you reduce this with a ruby, you make it's 5 mana filled to some cards, but then you also get your 5 mana back. If you have a Ral in play, you can cast this, draw 3 cards, discard 2 cards, and then you have enough mana to cast a Mind's Desire. That's what I'm interested in, but I think this isn't good enough to actually see play. Render Speechless. Target opponent reveals the hand, choose another card from it. These target opponent reveals the hand effects can't be costed at 4. It's just not worth it. Like, when you have, like, yeah, it's just unplayable. Just take my word for it, that's not going to see any play. Resonating Loot, 4 mana. Lands you control have add 2 mana of any one color. Spend mana only cost instant sorceries. Draw a card, activate only if you have 7 or more cards in your hand. That line of text seems familiar. I wonder if there's a land that does this. Anyway, unplayable. It's too expensive for what it does. Root Manipulation, end of turn, creature control get 2/2. No. Sanar, Unfinished Genius. What the hell, man? Wild idea. Search your library before an instant sorcery card reveal, put it into your hand, then shuffle 5. Unplayable. I'm so tired, man. Scalding Administrator. 2 mana, 2/2 menace. Put a counter on this creature with property. When it dies, add counter. You put them on the counter creature. Nope, unplayable. Silverquill Charm. I am recording, right? I'm not muted. Dude, imagine I was like muted this entire time. I would just open my window and jump. I'm not gonna lie. Counters on a creature, so it's already bad. Exile target creature, power 2 or less. That's alright. Exile a Giant turn, stuff like that. And then it's a Lightning Helix to your opponent. Probably not good enough. Silverquill, the Disputant. Each instance of sorcery has casualty 1, which means you can sacrifice a creature with 1 or more power, and then you copy the spell. Only 4 mana, but probably not going to see any play. This is more Brawl Slop. Is what it is. Snooping Page. Snoop Dogg. Probably not going to see any play. Just read it. Like, when I see 3 mana 2/3 repartee, it's just probably like can't be blocked. Like, nah, man, get out of here. Social Snob, 3 mana. When you cast a spell while you control a creature, you may copy the spell. Each player sacrifices a creature of their choice. Your opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. So you can just, yeah, no, I'm not gonna see any play. Spectacular Sky Whale, 4 mana, 1/4 Opus. I guess no, not playable. Spirit Mascot. Whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, counter on this creature. No. Splatter Technique, 5 mana, choose 1, draw 4 cards, or deals 4 damage to each creature and Planeswalker. I don't think this is good enough for Timeless. This could be very interesting in like Standard maybe, but not Timeless. Stadium Tidal Mage, 4 mana, Djinn Sorcerer, 4/4. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, you may draw a card if you do discard a card. No, not playable. Startled Relic Sloth. Dude. When will we see the next playable card? 4 mana, 4/4 Trample, beginning of combat, unplayable, blah, blah, blah. 5 mana, 4/5, Stirring Honormancer. What the hell is an Honormancer? Like, your magic is honor, really? When the creature enters, look at the top X cards, where X the number of creatures you control. Goodbye, you're not playable. Stress Dream. That is so flavorful, because this is the same frog that is procrastinating. That is so flavorful, man. That is so good. I love that. I actually love that. This frog is procrastinating, and then way later, you get Stress Dream, and now you're stressing. That's so funny. 5 mana, 5 damage. Look, okay, 5 damage up to 1 target creature. What? So you don't have to target a creature, I guess. So you can look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 of those in your hand. It's too expensive. It's not going to see any play, but it's very funny. A very funny card. Suspend Aggression. 3 mana, X target, non-land permanent. And the top card of your library. For each of those cards, its owner may play it until the end of their next turn. Okay. Unplayable. Town Observant Sequencer. Deep Sight. Draw a card and gain 1 life. Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, it becomes prepared. Okay. Okay. Is that infinitable? Again, don't forget, you have to actually pay the cost of the prepared spell, so you can't just, like, it doesn't just go off. Nah, probably not. Teacher's Pest, 2-mana 1/1. When it enters, when it attacks, gain 1 life. No. This one here, Traumatic Critique, I saw a post about it on Twitter that actually might be good. Deals X damage to any target, and then draw 2 cards, discard a card. But if X is 0, it's just draw 2 cards, discard a card. That's already not bad. X is 1, 3 mana, kill Ragavan, draw 2 cards, discard a card. This is the closest thing to playable, but I don't think this is timeless playable, man. Vibrant Outburst, what the hell is going on here, man? 3 damage to any target, tap up to 1 target creature. Interesting. Vicious Rivalry, 4 mana. You have to pay X life, destroy all artifacts and creatures with mana value X or less. So it's kind of like Toxic Deluge, but it costs 4. You store all artifacts, I get. Oh no, all artifacts and creatures with mana value X or less. Okay, nah, probably not gonna see any play. Visionary's Dance, 7 mana, Jesus Christ, for 2 3/3s. F flying, I guess. And discard a card, look at the top. What? What? Oh, discard this card. Okay, I read discard a card. I was like, how does that work on a sorcery? Discard this card. Look at the top 2 library cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. That effect is a bit slow, but I don't know. I don't think this is gonna see any play. Wilt in the Heat. 4 mana. 2 less to cost if 1 or more cards left your graveyard this turn. 5 damage to target creature. And an exile if it will die. Probably not good enough though. The effect isn't strong enough. This got me interested, but then the effect isn't strong enough. You may sacrifice a permanent if you draw 2 cards. You gain 5 life. Destroy target non-land permanent or mana value 2 or less. This isn't... Witherbloom Charm isn't as good as Witherbloom Command. Witherbloom Command is stronger. So we're going to keep playing Witherbloom Command instead of Witherbloom Charm. Witherbloom himself, Witherbloom the Balancer, has affinity for creatures, and instant sorcery spells have affinity for creatures. It is Brawl Slop, but it does go infinite with cards that make creatures. That when you have, like, cards that make X creatures, really like this card. Anyway, Zaffi and the Tempests. 7 mana. Once during each of your turns, you may cast an instant spell for your hand without paying its mana cost. Sure. Like, mini Omniscience? Nah. Holy cow, we're at the Colorless spells. Good lord, this is taking the soul out of me, man. Things I do for you guys. My favorite card in the Multicolor is Keyboard Colony, but only because it looks cool. It's not actually very playable. I think the most playable card out of all these multicolored cards, it's probably gonna be that card that I said. I mean, Lorehold is actually probably the best of the Elder Dragons, and then Delian Fell could be interesting. This one could maybe see play in some kind of Is It Storm deck, and then I guess there was also, yeah, Traumatic Critique, but nothing too crazy, to be honest. Nothing too crazy. Anyway, we got 6 colorless spells, and that's pretty much it. Biblioplex Tonekeeper, 4 mana, 3/4. When the creature enters, why were there colorless cards on top and the artifacts are on the bottom? That doesn't even make sense. Whatever, man. Target creature becomes prepared when it enters. So 4 mana to make a creature prepared, right? I like that they added the rule that only creatures with prepare spells can become prepared. So you can't prepare a random creature. And then target creature becomes unprepared to like unprepare your opponent's creatures, I guess. 4 mana is way too much for this effect. If this was a 1 mana 0/1, that would actually be way better, because then you could like make creatures prepared like for cheap, but no. Anyway, 2 mana Diary of Dreams. When you cast an instant sorcery spell, put a page card on it. 5 mana, draw a card. This ability costs 1 less for each page counter. The cool thing about this is that, well, first of all, this is Brawl Slot, but the cool thing about this card is that it doesn't remove the page counters, so eventually you'll just have a draw card every turn, right? But again, it costs. This is like, I don't know. I don't think this is good, but it's interesting. Mage Tower Referee. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, counter on this creature. Goodbye. Page Loose Leaf. This is a legendary creature? What the hell? Okay. 2 mana O2. What the hell? Grandeur. Discard another card named Page Loose Leaf. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal instant sorcery. Put that card into your hand. Rest on the bottom. So it's a legendary card that is happy to have multiples in your deck. And it's a 2 mana O2 add a mana. I don't think this is good though. I think this is just not timeless playable. Before common, this is actually not bad, I guess. Anyway, Potionist Trove, add 1 mana of any color. Gain 2 life, activate only if you've cast a sorcery spell. Nope. Strixhaven Coach. Flying as a vehicle. Enters your message library for a basic land, reveal it, crew 2. None of these are really playable. Anyway. Oh, we're getting to the lands. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. Okay. So we have, I think these are the chill lands, right? Good lord. These are the chill lands, so they care about you having 2 or more other lands, and if you have 2 or more other lands, they enter untapped. They don't have types though, so they are mostly just pioneers. These are all reprints, they already all exist, so I'm not really gonna read them. Oh, not these ones, I guess. These ones here are the enters tapped, and you can pay 4 to surveil 1. I don't know if these are reprints or if these are a continuation from previous Strixhaven, but I do remember we had these in previous Strixhaven. So yeah, there you have it. The first land that actually does something else. Great Hall of the Biblioplex. Add 1 gray, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color, spend a mana only to cast instant sorcery spells. 5. This land isn't a creature, it becomes a wizard, and whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, it gets +1% at the end of turn. It's still a land. Yeah, this is not good, I don't think. Paradox Gardens, just one of those. Petrified Hamlet, this was interesting. So whenever when this land enters, choose a land card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So this just turns off Strip Mine, which is very interesting. But I don't think that this is actually good enough. Even if it turns off Strip Mine, I think just playing a colorless land, it also turns off fetch lands, which is interesting. But don't forget that it also gives those cards add a gray. So sadly, it's not gonna like completely hose your opponent. They can still tap their fetch lands for gray if you have this naming a fetch land. What this does do though is it can potentially go into Eldrazi control and let your own like Hallowed Fountains add gray. So that's good, I guess, for your Colorless commands. And then you can obviously name Strip Mine with it to never get Strip Mined. I don't know, maybe, but I don't think it will see much play, to be honest. And Shadow Sanctum is a chill land. Skycoach Waypoint just prepares a creature. Sadly, the effects of prepare target creature are not competitively costed, so I don't that nerfs all of the prepare creatures, because having a cheap way to prepare a creature, because realistically, when next are we going to see the prepare mechanic, right? When is it coming back, right? So like, I don't know, I feel like it's a little unfortunate. Anyway, these lands are all bad. This is the chill land. The chill lands are all right for like Pioneer, but I wouldn't recommend crafting them if you want to play Timeless. These are really only like if you have them and you don't have the equivalent of fetch lands or actual dual lands in Timeless. Obviously you can play them, but I don't think they're really good in Timeless. Terramorphic Expanse, we all know this one. And then Titan's Grave is the last bad land, and then boom, we have basics. Beautiful basic, full art basics, but they're not full art, right? They have a black border. I prefer the ones that are like completely full art, but they do look very cool. And that is it. Holy cow, dude, that was so long. Oh my god, and I have to go in there and edit out that one time I blew my nose. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this set review of me literally there was like 5 playable cards in Timeless. I literally said unplayable to almost every single card in the set. If you still enjoyed that, leave a like, comment, subscribe. You already know. If you think I misevaluated a card, I want detailed timestamps in the comment. So for every card you think I misevaluated and every card you're interested in, I want you to timestamp it and tell me, and like, so that I can click the timestamp and see what I was talking about. And then if you do that, you're the GOAT. But if not, you're just a fraud. You didn't watch the video, clearly. This is totally not going to be a 2-hour video. If you even made it this far, I really appreciate you. And there's not much more to say. I'm really excited for Strixhaven, mainly for the Mystical Archive, but even these, like, Flow State is a really cool card, and Flashback is going to be very interesting, so we'll see. Probably going to be opening mainly Strixhaven packs from now on my other videos. And yeah, that's pretty much all from me. I'm the Control Guy, and I bid you all farewell. Peace.